So, by the time you watch this, if everything goes correctly, it'll be the 26th, the day after Christmas. Yes, I will film stuff on Christmas and will be uploaded on Christmas, mainly showing you what I got for the holiday and maybe a few things here and there, but that will be then and there, which should be within a week of this Sunday. But anyway, this is being uploaded for the 26th. Even though I'm be off that day, my mom will also be off, and well, you know how that is sometimes. You want to, try to do videos and stuff, work around it, and I might still do some videos on this day when you're watching it, but still, this is a bit of a safety net. But I wanted to come on here because basically a little over a week ago, which is Wednesday, December 14th, when I'm filming this, it was announced that Mandy Rose had been released by WWE. Now by this time, you've already seen the video that myself and other people have done videos on it have talked about, and I'm sure others will be doing more updated videos as time rolls along before this video premieres, before you're watching it as you are now. But one of the things that came out about Mandy Rose's release, and this is a common thing a lot with sometimes a lot of wrestlers, men and women, kind of being suspended, or in this case released by WWE over the past several years, if not decades, whether or not it's under the Vince McMahon watch or the current Triple H watch. And that is when you are partnered with some outside companies that are helping to license your product to a bigger, broader, outlet, media, audience, if you will, that there are certain things you can and cannot do. There are certain things you are allowed and allowed not to do. And in the case of WWE, since they are a publicly traded company, unlike, let's say, AEW, who, by the way, I do believe will head that route, we just don't know when. That's up to them, but I think they will head that route eventually. But WWE, being that publicly traded wrestling company that they are right now, have a lot of people to answer to. And sometimes, the decisions they have to make are legitimately out of their hands. In the case of Mandy Rose, as I said in the video a little over a week ago, and others have pointed this out in that same time frame, and even pointed out more in updated videos throughout the past week since they posted the originals. One of the main reasonings Mandy got released wasn't just the fact that she had breached her contract with WWE because she was making money, through these paywalls, through her fan time and everything, with the pics and all that, but mainly also the fact that by doing these photos and getting even more risky and more XXX, NC-17, I guess you could say, I'm trying to say basically getting more XXX NC-17 related in her content. It wasn't just the contract with WWE she had breached. She had also breached WWE's contract with Mattel. Mattel, in case you guys don't know, creates and distributes the WWE action figures. The lineups of figures you get every year. Especially sometimes the legend figures, the ultimate figures, all that. As well as they also distribute and license out the rings, the playset rings, and all that. Well, apparently Mandy Rose, doing what she's done or did, like I said, not only breached WWE's contract, but breached the contract with Mattel, because Mattel is and has or did distribute a lot of Mandy Rose figures. As a matter of fact, by the time you watch this video, I guarantee you a lot of people probably bought some Mandy Rose figures that are left on the shelves because of this, just for their own personal Christmas, gifts to themselves, or for their own personal wrestling collections. But still, be that as it may, because of that partnership with Mattel, WWE didn't want to risk losing it, so they said, Mandy, basically, we have to do the unthinkable. We have to let you go, and that was it. Now, I'm not denying that they didn't probably give her an opportunity to, shut down the site for, temporarily, or at least for the time being, till they could work something out with Mattel, or maybe find a new toy partner. I'm not saying that they didn't try to work something out with her, and she said, no, I'm not doing that. That's, neither here nor there. And if information does come out you know, that they tried to work something out with her to where she could shut the site down, you know, kind of keep the site but shut it down for the time being, or at least put like an age restriction on it. You know, again, we'll find out, and probably we have already found out by the time you watch this video. But the reason I bring this up 12 days later in this video that I'm filming on the 14th is mainly this is an issue that a lot of publicly traded companies like WWE face. You know, when you are partnered with an outlet like a Mattel, like a Hasbro, if you will, like a, you know, what's that campaign they did? The Star campaign, the anti-bullying campaign, and all that. The Be a Star, if you will. You know, the Susan Corman cancer thing, and all that. When you have all these partners, you know, that you are aligned with, and you're doing business with, you're helping out with charities and all that. When you have a superstar that, again, as I said in the previous video, and I'm sure others have somewhat agreed with this, basically is being looked at as the next face of your women's division. When you have someone like that going out and doing what Mandy did, that does put you at risk. As I said in my previous audio video, basically it'd be like if somebody in the NBA, you know, did something like that, and the WNBA has partnerships with other outlets for action figures, product placements, and all that. If, you know, someone in the WNBA did that, then not only would that make it, you know, make the WNBA look bad and the team associated with this player look bad, but the player themselves, you know, basically probably wouldn't be the same afterwards. They probably, you know, have a hard time trying to be signed by anybody else or trying to find work in any other basketball league or any other sport league because of what they did. And in the case of Mandy, various reports came out, and again, maybe more clear by the time you watch this, you know, it sounds like, you know, she didn't want to, sorry about that, but like I said, you know, by now we might have more clear information, but, you know, this is a risk you take. You know, this is a risk you take, and that's a risk Mandy took, because according to various reports, like I said, hopefully we get more clear information by the time you watch this. Mandy didn't want to take her site down, or it sounds like she didn't want to take it down. And even though some people, you know, kind of respect her for standing her ground, you know, that doesn't really send a good message, you know, to potentially anybody else that wants to sign her. Now, true, you know, a company like AEW or Impact might be more, you know, less restrictive, but still, it's like, you know, if you're, you know, if you're a big major corporation and you decide, hey, I'm gonna, you know, and you decide, you know, and you're basically publicly traded, and you decide, oh, I'm gonna let my wrestlers or my talent do whatever they want, there's gonna be no consequences. You'd be surprised about what happens. And I don't know if Mandy didn't think that, well, she's on NXT, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I don't know. But obviously it doesn't matter what brand you're on in WWE, you know, because as long as you're under the, you know, under the roof, you're pretty much going to be playing by the rules, and that's about it. You know, you're going to be playing by the rules. That's about it. But yeah, you know, this is just another example, in my opinion, of the fact that you have to be careful of, you know, of who you partner with if you're a publicly traded company. Because if you're going to try to, you know, promote your franchise, your company, your promotion as somewhat being on the edge, somewhat being risky, you know, you may not want to go public, you know, you may not want to go public, you know, publicly, or you may not want to become a publicly traded company due to that. You may not want to do that. You may want to just keep it private and under the radar. Because once you go publicly traded, you know, that's it. You know, you got no other choice but to be like, okay, what can we do that's not going to cause our advertisers, our partners, our stockholders, trade holders, you know, shareholders, you know, what can we do that's not going to, you know, get them angry, but could be close to what we want to do. You know, it becomes harder. So, to me, for WWE, this is just another hard lesson for them. That maybe, going public, long ago wasn't probably the best idea, especially in the ever-growing, changing times that we're in. And it's a lesson for not just Mandy Rose, but for a lot of the men and women out there that, you have a little bit more freedom to do other things outside of WWE, like an OnlyFans, like a Twitch, like a YouTube channel and all that. But, but there are still certain parameters. Like, there are certain, limits of how far you can go. And if you go just a little too far, that could spell trouble for you and maybe potentially the company if one of their partners finds out. But when you're a publicly traded company like WWE, you run the risk of putting yourself in a situation to where if you have sponsors like Mattel, sponsors like Hasbro, sponsors like I would say 2K, who you're doing video games with, or whoever else, Snickers, M&M's, Coca-Cola, you run the risk of basically putting yourself in a situation to where if you think, oh, nobody's going to get angry if we allow this person or that person to do this, on camera or outside of the ring, then you've got another thing to consider. You have another thing coming. So hopefully this is something that, if by the time you watch this, if there is a reconciliation, like I mentioned in the audio video, between both sides, and she does come back, and instead the firing turns into a suspension, without pay, then fine. Then everything we've talked about over the past week or so, has been for naught. But, we'll have to just see what happens. But again, this is going to be a major lesson on all sides. Going to be a major lesson on all sides. For Mandy, if she does get a chance to come back, it's going to be a lesson for her. Like, okay, I want to do this, but I can't be too risky right now until my contract officially expires, so I got to dial it back. And for WWE, it's got to be more along the lines of, okay, we got to keep, reiterating to our talent, you're allowed to do certain things more so than you did before now, but there is still a limit. There is still a parameter you got to keep within. So we'll see what happens as we get closer to the Royal Rumble. But all I can say for Mandy is, if you come back, Mandy, hopefully you've learned a lesson and you've realized that you could probably still do it, but maybe the risky stuff, the risque stuff, the Triple X stuff, you might want to save until you're pretty much out, officially gone from WWE, not by firing, but by contract expiration. In WWE, hopefully this is a lesson to you that maybe you shouldn't, promote a talent that you are hoping to be the next face of your women's division. Maybe this will be a lesson to you not to push them in a way that you did, because there's a good chance that maybe they might be taking it a little too far when living out their character in and out of the ring. So that's really all I can say in it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Comment if you like. Live chat during the premiere. Like the video. And until next time, guys, I'm out.